Welcome back to Integrated, a podcast for entrepreneurial couples who want to have an awesome business, partnership, family life. You're in the right place if you want to deepen your relationship and go to the next level. So it's a real resource for you as you navigate such a huge life that you're living.
Yeah, and to learn what it really takes to have the relationship you dream of.
Yeah, because it takes a lot, folks.
It does.
It takes some energy and effort on your part, right?
Got to put some attention into that.
Yeah. Thanks for subscribing, by the way. Thanks for sharing this with your friends. And hopefully this is helping you. Please leave us a review. Give us feedback. Thank you. All right. Today we're talking about a comfortable marriage versus a thriving marriage. Mm-hmm. There's many types of marriage, and there's many types of stages that we go through, including an uncomfortable marriage that you might find yourself in, where it's just a lot of fighting, a lot of distance, a lot of disconnection. And, you're just in pain, really, about your marriage. Mm-hmm. That's an uncomfortable marriage. We're going to today not focus so much on that. We're going to focus more on a comfortable marriage versus a thriving marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, let's get into it. Ellen, what's a comfortable marriage? Let's start there.
I think what we're describing here is one where, this can look a few ways. So let me know how this sounds to you, Jay. But, where you're in a partnership where you just kind of feel like you know your person, you know what to expect, you know how they think, how they're going to respond to things. You maybe have decided, there's certain things I don't bring up because it doesn't go well, or there's certain topics we steer clear of because those, bring up, create an argument, mm-hmm. or, we kind of just, are just walking through life now. We've got work and maybe kids, and we just have our routines and our mm-hmm. habits. And, we're not in crisis, and we're not like questioning if we want to be here, but we're kind of like, is this it? Like some little voice maybe in the back of your head is like, is this it?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, that's good. And it's the couple who looks good from the outside. You see their pictures on Facebook. They travel together as a family. It's like, wow, they look like they're doing quite well. They're maybe in a comfortable marriage. If we peeled back the hood or the curtain, we would see that there's a lot of things not being dealt with. Mm-hmm. And this couple has learned to stuff it, be okay with it. Hey, this person isn't going to change, so I'm going to stop bringing this thing up.
I'll just try to accept it, whatever it is.
Yeah.
How we do things, or...
Yeah, and I kind of have my story about myself and my partner. I've tried to create it so I actually don't experience a lot of discomfort. Mm-hmm. I don't want to be fighting. I don't want to be uncomfortable here. I don't want to be pushed or challenged to go to any next level. I'm just fine. Mm-hmm. It's fine.
Everything's good.
Yeah. And an analogy might be that I like to use is the health analogy, where you have an injury in your low back or your knee or hip, and instead of going into surgery or going into physical therapy or doing all the things that could actually change that part of your body in a better way, you learn to compensate and limp and get around the pain. Mm-hmm. Because you're like, oh, I've just learned to deal with the low grade not okayness or whatever and make it okay.
Right. And it's sort of, as you describe that, I'm like, right, that, as you can imagine, really limits the scope of things you can do or participate in, because you're kind of holding back because of this low-grade injury, and it starts to limit your world. And we see the same thing happening in partnerships and marriages where people are like, oh, we just won't go there, or we won't talk about that, or I don't need to do that thing I used to love. It's okay. My partner doesn't really care for that, or whatever it is, whatever you start kind of shrinking to adapt to. It's like an adaptation that both people do without explicitly talking about it often. And you just sort of fall into this like smaller, more constrained area that you live inside of. And, it's not super painful, but there isn't really any room for growth or creativity or much new to come in. Yeah. We have to just like live inside this smaller area.
Yeah. And these couples, I got to say, are everywhere. I would say this is most couples. They're either uncomfortable and they're just not getting along and they get a divorce, or they're together and comfortable. Again, they just found a way and a bunch of ways to make it work. But they're definitely not expanding, definitely not growing, definitely not pushing the limits. They're not going deeper. They're not getting to know each other more. They've sort of fallen asleep in a certain way.
Yeah. And you sort of feel like I have to go to sleep. I think because when these couples come in for help, they come in after 20 years or so, let's say 10 even or less. And they're like, I felt like I just kind of like, there just wasn't really any other option, or we just sort of had to, that's just what we did. We didn't really think about it. Yeah. We didn't talk about it. We didn't talk about it. We agreed to these things without talking about them. And sometimes these people come in for help because like that kind of comfort often for one, and sometimes both people, reaches its kind of expiration date. Yeah. Or this is where I think the real vulnerability is for these couples. It's less that someone's going to want to grow and evolve, although that can happen. And then that will shake things up. But I think it's more that life will come at you and push some kind of stress or challenge to one or both of you in your life, because life has a way of doing that. And you're totally unprepared to handle it. And so that's what will often bring these couples in, is something goes down in their life. Someone has a midlife crisis. Someone loses a job. The kids leave home. Something big happens. And they're like, we have no skills, no capacity to talk about things that are difficult, to deal with these emotions or whatever this is doing to my identity or my sense of safety and security in the world. And that's when they see like, wow, we don't know how to do this, but they think they're like, oh, but not right now. We should be talking. We should be sharing. But we actually don't know how. We never do that. We're never this honest. And then they come in because they're like, oh my God. Yeah. We don't know what we're doing.
What could be an example of some of those life kind of crises that come in that you're talking about?
Yeah. I said like losing a job, kids leaving the home, death or loss of a loved one or parent,
someone gets cancer.
An illness. I mean, as you get older and go through life, there's losses. There's stuff going down in the world right now that some people are deeply impacted by, and so there's like, the political world implodes, our government struggles, like things are happening that stress us or activate fear or insecurity or vulnerability. And this couple does not know how to help each other through that or support each other, be there for each other.
Yeah. Yeah. Or they can be there for each other, but on a kind of putting Band-Aids on the problem. Like, let me just get you help. Like, I love you enough that I will help you. Right. But I'm not going to, we're not necessarily going to grow through this experience. Yeah. Because I think there are some just really good people out there that don't want to go deeper, don't want to be uncomfortable, but they will kind of show up in time of a crisis to be a good friend, and they'll do all the things that they know how to do to try to fix and help and all that. But the thing they're missing is they're not seeing it as an opportunity to learn about themselves, deepen together.
Yeah.
To kind of step through a door that's like, wow, this is kind of breaking us open, so to speak.
Definitely. I know exactly what you're talking about because I've seen that too, where, a partner did all kind of the quote unquote right things. Like, hey, this happened to my partner. They lost, their career ended, messily or something horribly, happened. And, or they fell into a depression. And so I helped get support. I picked up the slack. I did all this stuff, but we didn't ever address, process, hold space for how that was impacting us as a couple. The person who, supposedly wasn't affected, that was maybe just like a witness to the event, doesn't get, considered or thought of. Like, so sometimes these life events can really pull people further apart emotionally, even if you show up kind of physically and in terms of tasks and responsibilities. This couple might not ever get to just the emotional impact of what it's like to, be dependent on each other. And one of you going through something enormous, two of you are going through something enormous, if even one of you is. So I think, is that what you're speaking to? Is that the other person is just sort of like, it's not, I'm good, but they're not. And we're saying, actually, no, if your partner's going through something large, that's impacting you, and you have an experience going on there. And that could actually, by bringing that in and by both of you being aware of that, you could actually grow and develop, become a stronger couple. Both of you are developing yourselves.
Yeah, we'll get into...
We're always looking for opportunities to develop ourselves.
Yeah, and we'll get into this thriving, kind of, Ellen's hinting at it there.
Yeah.
I wanted to mention another thing as we hang out a little longer in the comfort marriage is friendships do this too. Like people who have the same friends, high school friends or college friends, 20 or 30 years later, and they're talking about the same exact things, telling the same exact stories, and there's not a real interest in getting to know each other now, who we are, having been through life and all the shit that we've gone through. There can be just a stagnancy in the curiosity. There can be a calcification in terms of really getting to know each other 20 years later. And so people sort of, again, they push the mute button or snooze or something. Something happens here where people just don't want to grow and don't want to expand, don't want to...
or be real.
Or be real, be authentic. And so we talk about kind of, how's work? How's the weather? How's your wife and kids? Oh, and then we pull out our phones and show pictures. And within an hour, we've told all the stories and caught up. And it's like, okay.
I mean, this is families too.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking how in so many families, there is kind of this comfortable way that we learn how to, what's okay to talk about, what's not, how much attention or interest we get, what we need to just kind of live with. And, even, in with siblings, as you go through life together, parents and kids, there's all these opportunities to keep getting to know each other and being really interested in each other. And a lot of families are missing that too. They're just sort of like, yeah, I know you. I don't need to ask more about your life or what it's like to be you. But those questions, that curiosity and interest, again, we're pointing towards what would create a more thriving, dynamic relationship, is one where you're bringing curiosity, interest, and care actively to the situation, right?
Yeah. So let's get into thriving.
Yeah.
So you get the idea, right? Comfortable is kind of, there's a stagnancy to it.
Yeah. We have our roles. We have our...
But we're kind of good. We've made it work. And this is absolutely one way to play it in your marriage. And it's okay. Like, there's no right or wrong here. It's just, we think you're going to be missing out on the boon and the deep, transformational experience that marriage has to offer if you aim for a thriving partnership. And so thriving is where we're self-reflective. We're actually interested in ourselves and why we're so triggered by the other person. We're interested in who the other person is and why they're so triggered by us, for example. Just that alone is like, why is this hard with you? And why do I get so upset here? That kind of curiosity will take you down so many really interesting roads.
Yeah. Learning about yourself and your partner.
Yeah.
Yes.
And thriving is like, we want to thrive. Like just the word thrive is like alive. There's a lot of energy here. There's a lot of freshness and newness. It's not stagnant. Mm-hmm. And when there are times of stagnancy, we address that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If it's not working or feeling great. I think that's, that kind of curiosity and interest. Yeah. And sort of like, who are you today? And what makes you so inspired about that or so interested in that thing? Mm-hmm. I mean, it doesn't have to be just about triggers by any means.
Of course.
There's so much we can bring to our partnerships, our kids, even our friendships. And in terms of just being curious about who they are and why they are the way they are. Same with ourselves. Life will continue to show us that we have aspects of ourselves that we didn't fully know about or like, whoa, I'm surprised I had that reaction, or I didn't know that would affect me so much. There's constant material to reflect on, be interested in. And we're saying that's to really have a thriving relationship takes some interest in your own inner experience, your inner life, where you've come from, where you want to go, what you're striving for in life, whatever it is, and bringing that sense of curiosity, care, and interest to your partner as well. Mm-hmm. And even around the things that are hard, like I think what you brought up is so important because that's where a lot of people clamp down is that they don't want to bring up the things that could be conflictual. And we want to help show you how to do that so that you can get to know each other better, know yourself better, have a stronger connection with less tiptoeing and less stagnancy.
Yeah.
But that does mean, to thrive, sometimes you do have to go into some discomfort. Yeah. So we were going to talk about that in terms of, you can be in a deeply uncomfortable marriage or partnership that's full of conflict and lack of resolution or maybe just so much distance and lack of connection. You can be in an ongoing experience of that. Or, if you're trying to get to thriving, you could go through moments of discomfort, momentary discomfort in the service of growth and development. And we're recommending that we want to help people get used to that idea. Like there's going to be some discomfort along the way to thriving. And we don't want people living in a state of disconnection, overwhelm, conflict kind of discomfort.
Yeah. So the comfortable couple, for example, has discomfort come into their space, but they want to shut it down and make it go away. Whereas the thriving couple, discomfort comes into their space and they put on their learning hat and they're like, what is this? And they want to figure it out so that they can get to the other side of it. The comfortable couple avoids conflict and doesn't want it. The thriving couple embraces conflict and is willing to learn from it. Mm-hmm. And so the comfortable couple doesn't really learn how to repair because they're so anti-conflict. And so they don't ever really get good at that. They get good at compensating, which is different than repairing. Mm-hmm. The thriving couple is like, this is hard. This moment is hard with you. I don't like this. I don't like you. I don't like me. I don't like how we're being. What do we need to do to get to a good place? And because none of us were taught this stuff in school, the thriving couple, one of the features of their style is they really have a growth mindset. Mm-hmm. The comfortable couple has more of a fixed mindset. And so the thriving couple is like, oh, we got to go to therapy. We got to go to coaching. We got to listen to Jayson and Ellen's podcast. We got to take notes here. We got to take a course. We got to study and train and get better at this skill. Because we're saying the way to thrive is to learn skills, to be uncomfortable in learning a new skill and get better at it.
And also to have a view, like when you bring up mindset, I think that matters so much. Like you know, a lot of people come in wanting skills, and yes, there's skills and capacities that we all are constantly developing when it comes to relationships and important areas of life. But you also need kind of a view, a mindset that this discomfort could be in the service of my growth and development.
Right.
How can I make learning about what's going on for me and you here something that's going to help me grow and develop, us get clearer, us be better for it. And so you sort of have to have a willingness to be uncomfortable and see some discomfort as part of the growth path.
Yeah.
And then you're someone who, if you will practice skills, you will practice what you're learning. You'll listen to something, or you'll read something, or you'll get some coaching or therapy, and you want to try it and see if it works. Like, those people get so much more traction out of any help they get, because they're like, I need to try stuff. I need to experiment. I need to see what I'm capable of. I'm curious what will happen if I do this thing differently with you. Let's see. Like, there's curiosity, there's some capacity for, experimenting and getting, you know, even messy along the way towards really growing and integrating and developing.
Yeah, well said. And another thing that you're kind of speaking to is the thriving couple develops capacities to handle and be with discomfort, pain, emotions, hard stages,
differences,
outside challenges, differences between us. Their capacity is strengthened and increased and deepened over time, whereas the comfortable couple puts a lid on. They're like, I hit a ceiling, so I don't want to. This is how I am. This is how we are. And they sort of calcify again around a story that I can't handle certain things.
Yeah.
That's too much. You're too much. I'm too much. I don't want to deal with hard things. And so they stagnate. Another one is like resiliency, that the thriving couple builds resiliency through challenges, right? And through stress and through all the things that go on in life. And the comfortable couple isn't that resilient because they're not doing anything to develop that capacity and that resiliency. They're trying to put the lid on. Can we just be okay? Can we stop talking about this? Hey, we're fine, right? And again, that couple actually, strangely, the comfortable couple is more brittle.
Yeah. More vulnerable to being kind of toppled over, overwhelmed, or being uncomfortable more often almost, because discomfort is such an uncomfortable experience for the comfortable couple. Yeah. Does that make sense?
It does. It's funny. It's like, you hear about these couples, right? I'm thinking of a couple friends over many years who, on the outside, everyone thought they had a good marriage. And then one day it was like, they're divorced.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, what? Those people? Because they trained everybody in their life to like think they had a good marriage, when it turns out they were just comfortable. And when external stress came in that was big enough, they had zero capacity to deal with it. So they just hit the eject button. We're done.
Right. Or they had low grade stuff kind of driving them apart, but they were good at, the accumulated over time. But they knew how to play the part of like we go out in the world and instantly we're like, oh, hey, they know how to play the part of like a quote unquote good couple. And, it's like putting your best face on kind of, but behind the scenes, you go home, you shut the door, and it's like desert. And, that's real. That happens. Yeah. Some people are living in that.
Yeah. Here's another example of a thriving couple versus a comfortable couple. I'm thinking of like a dinner party, right? You go to a dinner party and everybody's cordial and stuff. And at a comfortable couple dinner party, everybody's good. At a thriving couple dinner party, the thriving couple, let's say one of them comes in a fight and they're in a snag, and you greet them at the door and you're like, oh, you take their coat off or whatever. And you're like, hey, great to see you. And they're like, how are you guys? Oh, we're in it. We're fucking in it. We just got in a huge fight on the way here. So, we're not doing so hot. We're kind of struggling. And the person receiving them, if it was a comfortable couple, was like, oh shit, okay, I'm sorry. Well, hey, and they change the subject and move on. And well, let's get dinner here. Do you want a cocktail? Whereas a thriving couple is like, Oh, okay. Wow. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We understand.
I can relate.
Gosh,
we had a fight last week that was pretty intense. Well, guys, if you guys need any support tonight, we're here and we can talk about it at dessert or dinner or like whatever.
Yeah, we can make space for that.
We're here for you to support you. So that's like another place where you'll see these differences. Think and just reflect on your own relationships with other couples. Like if you never, ever hear about any problems ever from another couple, wow. I mean, that's pretty inauthentic, I think. Chances are they're in a comfortable relationship and they're hiding their problems and they don't want to deal with anything. And it's brittle.
Yeah. I mean, they're hiding them from the world and even maybe from themselves, just not even knowing how to talk about it. And I would say that dinner party example, like where, they're like, well, let's just get you a drink and
move on.
Sorry about that. Anyway, I think that's, says something about our society too. Like I think societally, most couples in a struggle are not received with warm, open arms.
Yeah.
It's like people who have capacity to show up for that. We want a world where that's what couples are met with, but that isn't the norm for most people. We've created in our own lives friends and community where we can do that, but that isn't the norm. And
true.
And we're trying to kind of bust through some of these facades that even couples hold up, so that you feel less alone. And so you might consider, being more true to yourself, true to your partner in terms of what's really going on, getting help if you need it. And then even starting those conversations with friends, like, how are you really doing? And how are you guys working through stuff? You guys seem great. How do you deal with conflict? Or what do you can even have those questions if you know a couple that you really think is thriving or seems really great. Some people don't ever even have those conversations. So we want people talking about their relationships, with the people you trust and care about and getting more honest so that we can all be, supporting each other to thrive in these most important areas of life.
So if you're a business owner, for example, just to bring in that angle, do you want a comfortable business or do you want a thriving business? And by thriving, I don't mean it's scaling 10x year over year. That doesn't necessarily mean thriving. Thriving just means maybe you're having a really good time. You're learning a ton. There's a lot of growth in yourself in running the thing. You're constantly facing challenges and having to deal with your capacity and your resiliency and getting beat up and then falling down and getting back up. It's amazing, like how many men, for example, will do that willingly in their business to build their business. But when it comes to their marriage, they want it to be comfortable. So you might also notice you have these capacities, say around weight training or your business, and you're like, oh, I'm thriving over here. But in your marriage, you're stuck and you're either uncomfortable or you're comfortable and you're not willing to do the very things that you do in these other areas. You might just notice that. And obviously we want you to thrive in all areas. And it takes a growth mindset. It takes a lot of effort. It takes a commitment. It takes teamwork.
A willingness to be uncomfortable at times to grow and develop.
Yeah, it just takes so much capacity, right?
It does take a lot of capacity.
And mind power and like, we've got this. Wow, this is super hard right now, but we're going to hang in there and learn.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, other people, like human beings are complex, difficult, a lot to navigate. And then you get married to them and you got a whole life to figure out. It does take our attention and our interest, and it takes resources. And it is interesting how people want to just kind of put a marriage or relationship on autopilot and think, I invested those first couple of years and now we're good. And no one gets off doing that. No, everybody would suffer if you just put the relationship on a shelf like that. Just like your health would suffer if you did that with your health. Like, well, I exercised for a couple of years. I think that's good. I'm like, no, you're going to live 90 years. Maybe you got to put a little more. Or business wise, like, well, I really put a lot into it at the beginning, but now I just want it to run itself. That's not how that works. And so we're saying relationship is like that. If it's an important area of life, if it's a complex area of life, it's the one that really matters to you, it wants your attention to keep growing, to keep thriving. And you're going to need to show up for that.
Yeah. So my invitation to you listening is to choose, together. What do I want? Mm-hmm. What do we want?
Yeah. It is a choice.
It's a choice every day. It might not seem like it in the overwhelm and the list of to-dos that you have going on and whatever challenges you're facing inside and outside. And it's a choice. Like, you can choose to get in the game and very engaged and make this a top priority. And I'm almost certain you will thrive over time, but you've got to, you're going to have to deal with a lot of discomfort. And, is that such a bad thing? Like, maybe that's good for you and your being in some way.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else, Ellen?
I think that's good for now.
Okay, thanks, folks. Thanks again for subscribing, following us.
Thank you.
Watching our videos on IG or wherever you find us. Really appreciate it. We're always open to suggestions. Feel grateful for your listenership, and we'll talk soon.
Okay, thank you.